Three, two, one. What's up, everybody? We got Aldo in the house. We're gonna talk about jiu-jitsu, everything martial arts, and magkukwentuhan din kami, magchichismisan po kami. Actually, kayo na pa kami nagchichismisan eh.
Oh
Bago namin
man.
record, kayo na pa kami nagchichismisan. So, before anything else, and this is what I tell most of the people that I've guested here, I want this to be like an online journal of things that our future students can look back into and they could reference if they
Mhm.
need notes about training, how was the jiu-jitsu journey, how was the martial arts journey of their professors and their coaches. At least, ano lang yan, it's something that we all, and for us, di ba, something we all look back on and say, yeah, we talked about that, we had that conversation, and at least someone has to chronicle. I mean, this is my, admittedly, this is like my selfish passion to chronicle the stories of the people that I grew up with, I went up against with,
Man, man. Yeah.
and 'di ba para ano lang it's like my online diary kumbaga.
Yeah.
So at bro, please
Actually,
like mm,
I'm a big fan of history,
yes.
and every single history is based on a source document or a source
Yes.
material.
Yep, that
Tama
is
yan, man. Tama.
that is true. And we are going to talk about Coach Aldo's story. So please, sir, thank you for doing this and please tell us your martial arts
Pleasure.
story. Huwag muna tayo kasi ito yun na, yung batch namin multidiscipline, cross discipline martial artist kaming lahat. So ako, that's why I encourage my students, wag kayong kung masaya mag-jiu-jitsu, pero try nyo rin yung iba. Di ba? Pwede kayo mag-wrestling, pwede kayo mag-judo, pwede kayo mag-striking. Kasi it'll benefit later on, di ba? And you will see. So Aldo, your story, please.
Funny you should mention that. Ever since I was a kid, I was a Bruce Lee fan. Because my
Mm-hmm.
dad, in
Mm-hmm.
particular, my dad is like a martial arts movie nut as well. So I was actually doing martial arts since I was like 6. The first
Mm-hmm.
first martial art I ever tried was Muay Thai, but this was like Muay Thai in 1997.
Mm.
So wala
Mm.
pang di pa uso yung kids Muay Thai. So
Wala
like
pa
I went
nun.
to like an actual Muay Thai gym,
Yeah.
and like it'd be like 3 other adults and just me with the
Mm.
mitts. I'm like, okay, this is fun, but like medyo weird to have a 6, 7 year old kid here. So I went into
Yeah.
karate naman as a school activity. So yeah, I
Okay.
stuck with that all throughout grade school.
Mm-hmm.
Like I never, it was cool. But I never fully felt like I don't know, was fully immersed in it. It just felt like a thing that I did.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, then high school around 2005. That's actually around the time. What channel was that? That's Solar Sports or something, or Balls or one of those channels started showing UFC events.
Solar yon. Solar yon. Yeah.
Solar, yeah. So I caught like at a random time UFC one
Mm-hmm.
on it, and I'm like, okay, who's this dude in the white gi? Like beating I think a lot of people have had that story of like that's how
Mm-hmm.
they got exposed to.
Yep.
So and I saw the UFC two, and then I saw UFC four where he also won. So like, okay, I gotta try this stuff. And around that time, I encountered my first grappling experience
Mm-hmm.
at the house of a mutual family friend namin ni Diego Nepomuceno. Good
Mm.
friend of mine. Very good family friend of mine. He armbarred me in the trampoline. Because he wanted to show me. Yeah, dude.
'Di ba? During the good
Oh,
old days, maghahanap ka ng surface. 'Di ba? Maghahanap ka ng surface. For you
oh,
guys, it was the trampoline. Okay?
I would like to clarify, it's not a very safe way to do it because when you armbar in a trampoline, you will bounce. And when you
Yeah.
bounce, you're gonna overshoot and you're gonna injure your partner. So please don't.
Yes.
That was
Mm-hmm. Take note,
when you're a
take
kid.
note. Take note. Trampoline, not
um,
safe.
yeah. So like, and so Diego and Sam, I
Mm-hmm.
would go to their house sometimes, and we
Mm-hmm.
would like, they would teach me striking. We would like whatever white belt level
Mm-hmm.
grappling I had. So I never actually took a class. He just kind of showed me what stuff, what he was learning. Tito Mark, the dad, was
Mm-hmm.
like he would teach us stuff as well. So I was like, okay, that's cool, it's fun. And then, but I never like actually took to it fully. I think I forget what I was doing. I think my band was kind of active as well at the time,
Mhm.
so I was learning drums. So like,
Mhm.
but eventually, my mom would work out at a gym near my high school,
Mhm.
and that's where Ebreed Philippines was.
Uh-huh.
So uh, she brought him a flyer. Oh, Aldo, look, it's that jiu-jitsu stuff you were doing. Like,
This
oh,
is
okay,
mommy,
cool.
no? Ah, ito,
Not really. No,
diba?
dude. Like
Ito yung jiu-jitsu.
a lot of my success in life comes from my parents being very supportive of me
Mhm.
doing different activities and stuff. Every summer may bagong activity. And yun, that
Mhm.
school year, that's what I wanted to try. Medyo nagsawa na ako sa karate at that point.
Okay.
I was also getting pretty overweight at this point as well. I think I
Mhm.
was like 14 years old, about 160, 170 pounds, not even that tall yet. Just
Mhm.
chubby kid. By fourth year high school, I was like a lot bigger. Anyway,
Mhm.
um, so I went to the gym, Moro Lorenzo, and I watched the class. And yun, the guy teaching the class, this big burly blue belt,
Mhm.
si Coach Ali.
Ali,
Then yun,
oo.
so parang ever since then, he's kind of been my coach. A
Uh-huh.
lot of people assume I entered jiu-jitsu through judo first kasi siya yung
Mhm.
coach ko kasi he's a black belt judo.
Mhm.
I actually started jiu-jitsu first.
Mhm.
Yeah, so for a few years, no, 2 years. 2 years I did jiu-jitsu as like the after class thing. So that was like third year high school. That's when I was pretty overweight. I was like
Hindi ko pa rin
half
ma-imagine na
middleweight,
overweight ka
half
eh.
middleweight dude.
Kaya nakaganon ako eh. Kasi
My
sabi ko, taka na, hindi ko, tumaba ba si Aldo?
my
Parang
weight
hindi
class was
naman.
minus 81 kilos.
Fuck.
I was about
Okay.
77 kilos. Anyway,
Uh-huh.
Coach Ali asked me and my cousin Sean, who's cousin slash nephew, we're related,
Mhm.
um, who was also on the jiu-jitsu team. He invited both of us to join his lineup for Judo UAP that time. And nung
Mhm.
panahon na yun, you could still grab the legs in judo.
Yeah. Hmm. Pwede
So,
pa
my
single
match
leg
was,
tsaka double leg nun.
so semifinals kaagad. So, kasi hindi ko may marami. Judo UAP that year. Double leg, ipon pala. I tried to pin, I tried to like hold them down. Yung
Hold.
pala, ipon pala. Okay, cool.
Ipa na.
Alright. And then, I
Ah.
got thrown by Anjo Gomila with a
Okay.
beautiful Uchima.
Mhm.
So Anjo naman was the one who started judo first. He became my teammate in jiu-jitsu afterwards.
Later on, oo.
So yeah, he's a purple belt now. Yeah, so parang a lot of these people and I've trained with for years. I've been training with them literally half my life.
Mhm.
So yeah, from there, judo was fun. I did it a little bit in college, but I felt more Jiu-jitsu felt more open-ended to me. Judo felt
Mhm.
like I was playing a sport.
Mhm.
Jiu-jitsu felt like I was playing a game. You know what I mean? A
Okay.
game that you could constantly expanding. I
Mhm.
didn't like the restrictions on like you can't stay on the ground too long in judo. You can't
Yeah.
even grab the leg for a while. Parang, and with sayang though, because I love judo. Judo and jiu-jitsu, I feel sometimes it's cosmetic how different they are. Like
Mhm.
the core principles are all the same.
The
It's like
same.
if
I agree.
they're really the same family of martial arts.
They're like
That's
first
why
cousins.
I love those two
Yeah.
together. Yeah,
They're like first cousins that drifted apart.
yeah. Sorry, mahaba ba yung kwento ko?
No, no. We have time, bro. We
Before we
have
get to
time. Go, go, go. We have
yeah, so I
time.
got to yeah. So the last time I competed judo was like first year college, but not
Mhm.
UAP. It was I didn't make the lineup. I was doing I think it's called Hajime. Yeah.
Hajime.
Uh,
Oh, oh, oh.
Hajime. Yeah. So around that time, that was when so the Ateneo branch of New Breed
Mm.
went independent, and then
Yeah.
they became almost by Frenchy. Moving
Mm.
forward, BPF. That's when the core founders were Ralph, Carlo, and Coach Andy, diba?
Mm.
And
Oh my
so for a
God, no
while
nga
we
pala,
were
nag-VPF nga pala kayo, no?
yeah, man.
Di
That
ba?
was like 2 years.
Vamos para frente. Tama.
Vamos para Frenchy, which I
Frenchie.
heard might not
Frenchie.
be weak idiomatically. Parang, so I don't know. It did its job. We had a name for
What
2 years.
does
So
VPF actually mean? Vamos para,
moving forward.
I never, ano no?
Moving forward though. Moving
Moving
forward.
forward. Okay,
Yeah.
I never,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so
Yeah.
from new breed, di ba, nag-VPF, then I go like, oh, I don't know, VPF. Then I go, what the hell does VPF mean? And then they said,
Yeah,
okay, foreign language na.
yeah.
Okay.
It was more of like a slogan na wala kaming name. So like, oh sige, slogan na lang. So let's just do it.
Hmm.
And then, yun. Yeah, and 2 years later, that's when, not 2 years. So like during that time, that's when Carlo and Ralph went to Brazil. They like
Yeah.
met Hamon Lemos and this
Mm-hmm.
goes. So parang, they made that first connection when they came back. And then like 2010, Hamon came, we were Atos na. And yun, so parang
Mm-hmm.
the past 10 years have been the rest, I was with that team.
Mm-hmm.
And yun, actually all of the like all of the heads of Atos now and like a lot of people who were like the high performers on that team and now different teams came from that core Ateneo branch of New Breed. So
Yep,
it's
that
kind
is
of a
true.
cool shared. You got guys like Pat, you got guys like who would like come train with us kasi New Breed din naman. So parang like
Hmm.
even like the whole New Breed core family at the start was pretty like, we've left really parang I'm not even like the first generation. I was like one of the white belts at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like sobrang lawak pala ng roots ng team na yun.
Oo.
So
And back then, talagang dalawa lang. It was just Deftak and New Breed. 'Di ba? It was
mm,
yun yung ano, then through the years and then the population grew, the community blew. I don't want to say blew up, pero it was a gradual growth. It led to the formation of the current teams now. That's why I really want to do these things and have conversations with the people that were formed during our time and the people who preceded us. Because these are like I don't want to lose that story. I don't want to lose that line of history. Na at least we all know that it all started from that and then it branched out, and then it led to the current landscape. Diba?
mm,
So from there, then Atos, and then ano na yun, I mean, a huge chunk of it was um, what do you call this? So from that historical perspective, let's go back to like the early years, diba? The
mm,
early years. And this is something that we could all relate because it was limited training, limited sources of information, pero
yeah.
'di ba? And I asked this to and I have my answers, and I'm gonna ask you the same thing. Like, how were you able to maintain the passion and the yung parang instead of just saying hindi wala na eh, 'di ba? Parang sige, ibang sport na lang or ibang martial art na lang. Like, what drove you or what motivated you to stay or keep doing jiu-jitsu, especially at a time wherein nobody really knew about jiu-jitsu and
Mm,
nobody wasn't really into it.
yeah. Um. Well, I count myself lucky that I discovered jiu-jitsu when I was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
I was 14. So, and Coach Ali taught in the school that I was enrolled in. So parang like it made perfect sense. It was my after school activity. In college, I would arrange my schedule such that I could get a certain number of training sessions in per week.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in reality, that schedule and that parang when you're in that school system thing, schedule becomes so easy. Everything's routine. It's automatic. You don't have to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
That was easy. What was hard was when I tried to pursue a career related to my degree in college, an
Mm-hmm.
advertising career. And that industry is very, time
Very
consuming.
toxic.
Very, it can be, yeah.
Diba?
And I didn't even. I had to live closer to work,
Mm-hmm.
so it was just difficult just to show up for training. Like I would
Mm-hmm.
show up once a week. And literally on Saturdays, that's my only training for the week because that's the weekend would be the only time I would be near the gym. That was hard. That's actually around the time I got my first major injury in jiu-jitsu because I was in terrible shape. It was
Mm-hmm.
a an LCL tear
Mm-hmm.
of my while I was trying to do a rubber guard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, not, like a gogo plata, not even the most like fundamentally sound move, right? And then that knee has. I'm not shitting on gogo plata. It does work.
Uh,
I'm just like,
there's a certain level
if
of
you're gonna blow out a knee,
proficiency.
don't do it for gogo plata. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Um, so that same knee has given me a lot of problems ever since. So like
Mm-hmm.
that followed me around. So you're listening, guys. Take care of your bodies. Take care of your conditioning, your flexibility,
Mhm.
everything. I only appreciate that like as a purple dove, like after
Mhm.
that significant. So yeah, I did try to make my advertising career work for like 4 years. I jumped between companies and stuff. I never felt fully at home though. I talked
Mhm.
about this a lot with a lot of different people. And one interesting thing that happened was after I was let go very nicely. The boss there was a very good mentor of mine, but he said, dude, not for you. This is not it.
Mhm.
They let me go, and then he said, now's actually a good time to find out what you want, right? Like, don't take too long because gotta make a living.
Yeah.
So like, I was in touch with one of my mentors at the time. I was in touch with a psychiatrist who
Mhm.
diagnosed me, and like because I was seeing her for anxiety and depression.
Mhm.
But she died. I joked one time. I feel like I have undiagnosed ADD. Ha ha ha. Whatever.
Mhm.
And then in the space where a normal human being would have laughed,
Mhm.
like this psychiatrist was like, we can test that, right? I'm like, oo naman, oo naman.
Parang
So,
sabi niya, akala ba nito nagjo-joke ako? Pwede may test yan.
like, she's like, this is what you're paying me for, right?
Yeah.
This is my job. Anyway.
Mm.
So I took I took a bunch of long questionnaires, and then
Mhm.
compared it with a lot of our previous conversations, like
Mhm.
qualitative data, and she said, yeah, you're you have the highly inattentive type, not so much on the hyperactive type.
Mm.
So and then when she did told me that, I was like, like when you watch a movie and the clues are buried in throughout the whole movie, and then
Mhm.
towards the end there's like a plot twist where there'll be a montage of all the clues being in place.
Yeah.
So like imagine that kind of flashback for every time you felt, what is wrong with me? Why don't I fit in?
And then those
Why
things add up.
do I feel so? And why does everyone call me lazy even though I'm pretty sure I'm not. I'm pretty sure I try hard. It's
Mm.
just really some things are harder. Like a lot of the baggage like suddenly was like, oh, yun naman pala eh. Yun naman. So like it
Uh,
was actually very liberating.
yeah.
And I took that information to the mentor I was seeing, another former boss, and he said, okay, well, now that you know this, it's your job to understand it as well as you can, right? Because
Okay.
it's no one's gonna make excuses for you, right? It's your thing. You have to make it's your life. You have to find a way to make it work. And we're like, oh, yeah. And he said something that stuck with me, which really shaped, I think, the rest of my approach to, I guess, where people fit in well. He said, it's not that you're not working hard enough at the problems you're working on. It's like the tools in your toolbox are meant for tasks that you're not throwing yourself at. You're throwing yourself at a problem that needs a screwdriver. That problem needs a wrench. Go fix that problem. Fine, go work on
Yeah.
that. You have that in your toolbox.
Yeah.
So yun, instantly I was like teaching.
Mhm.
I want to be a teacher or a coach, and that was it. That was like 2017. Yeah, and
Mm.
then yeah. So and that was what year did the national team come? Like
Mga
what year was it
ganun.
put together?
I think it was
Yeah, so parang it
2000
wasn't popular yet.
yeah,
Right? It's nowhere near where it
conceptualized
is
ng
now.
mga 2017. Then carried
Yeah,
out 17, 18, ganon.
so jiu-jitsu wasn't really growing that quickly at that time.
That is true
So
as
there weren't a
well.
lot of new things popping up, right? So
Mhm.
like I wanted to find a place to work as a coach, but I also wanted to like I wanted it to also be like if I'm gonna make mistakes, I'm gonna make mistakes on these people's dime. Like basically,
Mm.
I wanted to be a coach for Atos, but I wanted to be the best coach I could be for Atos.
Mhm.
So I essentially took a part-time job teaching at my parang I called it my coaching internship, even though it really wasn't. It
Mhm.
was a job with
Uh-huh.
West Gym. So
Mm.
because it was an interesting learning experience because most jiu-jitsu schools, everyone who's in it experiences the fact that there's a lot of different levels on the maps all the time,
Yeah.
right? So, early 2018, si Miku hired me sa UFC
Mm.
gym. He was the manager at the time. You know, they were trying to get people. And bago siya sa galleria, yung branch na yun.
Yeah.
So, everyone's a white belt. Everyone's not only is everyone a white belt, everyone's a day one white belt.
Yep.
And supply issues. There were no geese. We couldn't
Yeah.
sell them geese. So okay, all right. I guess you make it no geese. That's fine. At least more people can try the class. Walang barrier to entry na getting
Mm-hmm.
expensive. So I had so for a good 3 months I was teaching no gi in a way that I'd never taught before because I was primarily a gi player most of my like purple blue
Mm-hmm.
years. Like white belt I was like both. And yun, like parang it was a interesting time because it was so challenging. How do you teach jiu-jitsu when literally everyone in the room does not know jiu-jitsu? Not
Mm-hmm.
even the person you're demonstrating on. So it
Yeah.
really stretched my like approaches. You kind of like you can't just do it the way you're used to. Like okay, you do this, you do this. You have to kind of in a way trick them into learning. So essentially
Yeah.
put them in position and tell them, okay, guys, your objective is to do that. Your objective is to do that. It's not even score points because you don't understand
Yeah.
points, right? So a lot of my methods got tried for the first time there.
Mm-hmm.
And what surprised me was how quickly uh, I got feedback on the results. So I was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
yep, I finally found the thing I'm good at, like that people can pay me to do. So like, yeah. So from there, I just continued. And but I found after about a year, yeah, I found reasons to not want to stay anymore. So I started like looking into other things. Medyo nagsabay nga sa simula yung
Uh,
time ko si gym at sa yung when I founded Atos BGC.
yeah.
Pero like yun, so after, yeah, that was 2019.
18. 18, 19.
2018 ako na sa UFC gym, 2019 ako nag-start ng Atos.
Atos
Yeah, Atos
BGC.
BGC. Yeah. So yeah, so the year happened. Great year. I was surprised. We thought we would make when we were going into it. I was very conservative. I was like, okay, if you can get 20 students in the first 6 months, okay na tayo. I'll call that a
Mm.
win. We were like a small yoga studio in Serendra.
Yeah.
Very nice yoga studio. It just wasn't designed for jiu-jitsu. We had to bring our own mats. Then we happened to find another partner with bigger space. And yeah, like but we had to find a bigger partner because bigger space because in the first month we had 22 students. So we're like,
Oh.
oh, 22 students, we don't fit on this 5x7 mat area, guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we found our partner, yung Physique 57. It's a bar
Yeah.
studio. They happen to use similar kinds of mats that we need. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they use their off hours. Yeah, and then ever since then it's been a pretty good partnership we've had. And then yeah, great year. Like I was really uh, I guess it's easier to be proud of something that you built yourself. And it was the
Yep.
first time I had kind of like built something like, oh shit, like, we did this. I put the meeting together, I put the people together, made it happen, and it's here. And they're paying me to teach them how to strangle people efficiently. I'm like, am I dreaming right now?
Oh, that is
So it was
true.
a really good year. Like, for me, it was a very validating year.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like having previously had like, a career, and I felt like work had to be stressful. Work had to be that thing that pissed you off.
Mm-hmm.
Like the happiest time of my day, yeah, is when I'm teaching. So yeah, I loved it ever since I discovered it.
Majority of that narrative was something that I could totally relate to. And sobrang I connect with that story so much in the sense na there will always be you're doing, I mean, you couldn't have said it any better about you. You're really meant to do something else. You I mean, it's that deep gut feel, eh. Diba?
Yeah,
You're doing something that is sustainable pero your mind is elsewhere. You feel like kasi when I came from the corporate setup as well. And then,
mm,
voila, as in, I wasn't really thinking. I just woke up and I go like, I think this is not me. Wala
mm,
sabi-sabi. As in, pak, resignation. Wala. I just wasn't happy. I just wasn't
mm.
happy. And I really
Some
felt
people can make
na,
it work. Really. Some
yeah,
people are able to make it work, but
diba?
like
And,
it's not for everyone.
diba? Before we do that, let's like backtrack and
Ah,
the realization process, diba? The realization process, acknowledging your acknowledging the things that you were meant to do, but at the same
mm,
time knowing that there's a problem to be dealt with. Diba?
mm.
How were you able to balance the struggle and the acknowledgement down to finding a resolution towards arriving at the answer? Diba? What was the mental processing for that?
Um, a lot of it at the start was not mental processing, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it was being pushed by the right people, being around the right people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would say it's easy to talk about these things in hindsight,
Mm-hmm.
as because you know what happened now. When you tell
Mm-hmm.
it in hindsight, it always feels inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
But what I found was it's actually you're in a constant state of feeling lost until you're not in a lot of ways.
Yes. Yeah.
So like anytime you have like a big eureka moment, it's usually an intersection of like a few ideas, like two, three, four, however many good ideas that and put them together. That's your eureka moment, right? Like yun pala yun. Yes, I'm gonna do that thing. You'll never ever arrive at all of the dots that connect that thing at the same moment.
Mm-hmm.
And when you pick up each dot along the way, it will seem insignificant because you haven't connected it yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, how do I explain this? Like, I really did never felt like I belonged in an advertising job, but
Mm.
now it's one of my strongest, I think, uh, traits as the leader of my own team now. Like I can
Like
do
in terms
like
of
I
the
know how to
things
run a
that you
marketing.
learned.
I know how to run a marketing campaign. I know what customer service should feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, brand communication was the thing I did. I spent 2 out of those 4 years on. So like communication strategy. I mean, but like at the time I didn't time at the time I was like, why am I doing this? I hate this job. Like so, it's not that I went through like that with a mindset that yes, gagalingan ko to, and I'm gonna do it. No, you kind of just have to chase it with a feeling of okay, now that I know what I know now, what do I do next? Right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
really hard to get discouraged. When you get discouraged, everything feels like whatever you're feeling now that sucks feels like it's going to be like that forever.
Mm-hmm.
And like the worst cases of depression are like that, right? You feel
Mm-hmm.
like
That is
you're
true.
never going to
Yeah.
get out of this hole, and some people don't get out of the hole. That's
Mm.
terrible. But you have to take little steps along the way. It's always like you have to try moving forward. So that Vamos para friendship, corny line that we use
Actually,
without
di
really.
ba, parang the
I
mindset
don't
or the
really.
concept behind
Yeah,
it is actually
yeah,
something that people can apply into their lives, di ba?
yeah. Coach Ali is very much a quote machine. He's full of these like kung fu master
Mm.
one-liners sometimes.
Feeling ko pag
So,
naging coach ka, kailangan may baon kang ganun eh.
oh
Kahit
yeah,
ako,
man. Oh yeah,
parang kahit
oh
ako,
yeah,
napaisip ako bigla, puto, parang dami kong kailangan malamang
yeah,
quotes ah.
yeah. So like, where was I? You gotta keep moving forward, and you gotta keep trying stuff like one thing at a time, and then the things make sense when they do. I'm not. That doesn't mean like go with no direction. If you don't know
Mhm.
where you're going, any road will take you there. I just chased this feeling na something's right. Something about this feels right. Um, and you have to have like a healthy relationship with what you want to move forward. Like one baggage of the millennial generation that we would get is like, oh, your passion's silly. Like, you guys are like, tamad lang kayo. Like, you don't
Mm.
want to do a job that requires hard work. Um, Honestly, like, I chased my passion, but it was one of those things that was there the whole time pala. Like I knew I loved jiu-jitsu before pa, but I never thought I would make it, it would be a job until I realized, wait a minute, that eureka moment, I connected those dots. I was like, wait, I come from a family of teachers. I'm pretty sure I'm a good teacher too.
Mm.
I've been doing jiu-jitsu for a good number of years now. I started in 2005. So like I think I can do this. This is not just like one of those silly things na I'm gonna drop everything and run off to chase my passion job. I think
Mhm.
it feels right. So you have to kind of also shake off the overcorrection. Hey, be hardworking. Don't worry about your passion. No, I
Yeah.
disagree with both. Those are two extremes. You kind of have to find the middle path in there. So what I really chased was this feeling that okay, wait, I'm doing right. Um, I'm getting the proper sense of validation in my life.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy to get the wrong kind from the wrong friends, from the wrong partners, from the
Mm-hmm.
wrong family members. Unfortunately, for some people, for from the wrong whatever, it's the wrong thing happening to you. So you gotta kind of like find that, but also accept that that the thing you fantasize about is not where the hard work is going to be happening. The hard work is going to be the things that allow that dream to become a reality.
Yep.
You know, like I had to study business. I had to study all these things about like I never studied accounting. I had to study accounting because like we're a 3-person operation. I was the only one, not with another part time job or full time job.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I guess it's me. Then. So you kind of just gotta accept that the hard work is worth that thing you're chasing because as we know with jujitsu, like people who love jiu-jitsu, we know it is, right?
Mm.
So so whatever you find that's your thing that's like that, you have to be willing to dream it, but you also have to be willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
And whenever you feel like you're discouraged, you have to remember why you love it. It's like my students before they compete, because I'm a referee, I don't
Mm.
actually get to like coach my
Coach
students on
your,
the
yeah,
mats.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so my coaching style for comp is very different. I prepare them on the mats lang, and then on the day itself, I'm just gonna trust that the other coaches can handle it. But
Mm.
I tend to take a moment to talk to each of my students before their division starts, at least, or if I see them
Mm-hmm.
about to fight, I'll come up and tell them something. The thing I often tell them is, remember, you're here because you love it. There's
Yeah.
like there's a lot of baggage, especially right before compete. You're so nervous, like, why am I doing this? Like, no, you're here because you love it, and
Mm-hmm.
when you have that feeling, one, it's exciting.
Yes.
Two, it gives you a feeling of gratitude. So when you're grateful, it's a Tony Robbins concept. When you're
Yeah.
grateful, it's the antidote to fear, the antidote to anger. So it's the
Yep.
antidote to. It's very hard to feel negative emotions when you're grateful. That's why a lot of
Mm-hmm.
mindfulness as a discipline hinges heavily on gratefulness.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I highly recommend mindfulness meditation to anyone listening. By the way, like
Mm.
changed my life, made it so much easier to be in tune with like your emotions, especially as a very impulsive person
Oh
like
yeah.
me. Very very helpful, very very helpful. So you just gotta remember why you love what you do. Like that's and be remember that's grit. Grit is being willing to do what you love
Mm.
and really willing. Like not just on the good days. You show up on the bad days too.
Kasi feeling ko, tsaka ito yun uh, marami ring, like a lot of experts are like saying already that people who venture into combat sports or the fight sciences and who become really good at it have that, parang majority of them have ADD. So feeling ko lahat tayo may ADD. Parang
Yeah.
you have to be a certain level, and even in what do you call this? I forgot the book. Back, kita mo. There's
Anong
this
topic?
book. Hindi, it's there's this author. He wrote 2 books about fighting. I love the first book more because he said that you have to be a certain level of crazy to do these things. you have to you have to be like a small amount of crazy. So you have to have a certain percentage of craziness in your gene to be able, in
Mm-hmm.
order to to get drawn
Mm-hmm.
into any martial art. And
Yeah.
then when your heart takes over and you go all in, sorry, and you go all in, then that's where passion keeps you motivated. That's where passion makes you stay. So ako, when I read that quote, I'm like, this guy knows what he's doing. Kasi parang he's this author that immersed himself in different martial arts. So he went Muay Thai, went Jiu-Jitsu, and
Nice.
ano pa ba yung ano niya? Then he went wrestling and boxing. So
Oh, basically
he
MMA.
oh, but
Basically
yun,
the MMA core
the
skill set,
MMA, the core MMA, uh,
the big four.
core MMA principles or core MMA na fight structure, kumbaga. So yun yung tinignan niya. Then he chronicled the coaches, he chronicled the fighters, and then he chronicled the mental processing that goes through each fighter. Then he said, "Yeah, this is like towards the end of the book." He goes like, "I thoroughly believe that you have to have a certain amount of craziness in order to pursue this, and a
Yeah.
lot of heart to stay in it because it will change your life for the better. It's gonna make everything, or it's gonna put a lot of things in perspective." And ito lang yan, like so many takeaways from there's so many takeaways from your narrative, in the sense na a lot of people are always in this rut. And ako na I went through the same process in my own way. I went through the same process na parang okay, I think I can do something else. Di ba? I mean, like, may ganun ka moment, di ba? Parang, I think I can do something else. Or, I don't
I
want
would
to...
I would clarify though. I would clarify. Um, Make sure to anyone with that like itch. Make sure you're also running towards something. You're not just running away from something. Because if
Yep.
you do that, it's gonna keep jumping to other stuff as well.
Yes. That
So
is
that's
true.
my
That is
one
actually
big
true. That is...
caveat to the whole thing. It's actually towards
Diba?
something.
And then, and like, towards the end of your story, kasi, it brings a very huge point that is very, very important, especially with the message that we want to convey with other people in terms of applying these concepts into their lives. Uh,
Mm.
and you narrated it in your own way with your story. Na when you start pursuing something that you love, when you start pursuing something that you want to do, that you feel like you're meant to do, diba? You have to put in the work, diba? It's either it'll be forced upon you, or work becomes easier. Kumbaga, parang work becomes
And more than
easier.
that, more than that, it's people um, who don't know how to learn stuff. I mean, I don't want to say this. People going into these fields, like martial arts, or even like any level, anything you can be an expert at. A lot of people don't appreciate how much drastic difference there is between the ways you can practice.
Mm,
Um, so interesting, you mentioned a book that you had about there's some kind of crazy, right?
mm,
So, I would like to recommend to anyone listening the book that has played one of the biggest parts in my teaching style.
mm.
It's called Talent is Overrated.
Talent is
Um, it,
overrated.
Talent is Overrated. It explores the lives and like careers of high performers across different sports, businesses, everything. Like all the different ways people are great, musicians, or everything. They study it. And
Mm-hmm.
um, something interesting about the ones who were lucky enough to be the very best, say like
Mm-hmm.
concert pianist or whatever. A
Ayan,
lot of
by
them,
Geoffrey Colvin.
yeah, that's the one. That's the
Yeah.
one. Um, a lot of them got into like this thing that they loved when they were kids, or the parents made them do it, and then you should do it over and over again, and it felt like work for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And many of them felt honestly like they got discouraged. Like everyone wants to quit jiu-jitsu at some point, right? Everyone thinks
Yeah.
about it. Like um, the ones who happen to then stay on long enough to be the best in their field are the
Yeah.
ones who suddenly one day it just clicks, and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, this is awesome. Like there's nothing else I'd rather be doing right now. And to the point that these are the people who deliberately practice their art. So you don't.
Mm-hmm.
What's an example of that? You don't just show up and do mindless exercises. You don't just show up and. I mean, there is a place in jiu-jitsu, for example, for sparring freely and having fun. But if
Yep.
that's your only training forever, you will only learn like a small section of all the things you could learn. The best are the ones who know that this thing sucks, but if I put a lot of hard work into this specific thing, I'm gonna be 20 times better than if I had spent that amount of time doing that one thing I already know. Like
Yep.
you know what I mean? You have to
Yeah.
stretch yourself where it's difficult in the right way. So you don't stretch so far that it's not connected to your existing skill set. But you
Mm-hmm.
have to always branch your skill set just outside where you're comfortable.
Mm.
Um, and I love the applications of that for jiu-jitsu because everything's honest in jiu-jitsu. You get tapped out,
Oh
you got
yeah.
caught.
Oh
You,
yeah.
you, you, you clearly messed up along the way. It
Yeah.
wasn't. It might not have even been towards the end. You might have just lost the grip fight 20 seconds into the match. Like,
Yeah.
these are things that you don't even think about. You just think, oh, let's stop and bump and roll. No, you gotta have to also be very deliberate
Mm-hmm.
with what you do, and that translates to everything. So my favorite analogy, no, my favorite story from the book was I forget his name. The best at the time, the best running back in the NFL.
Mm.
Um, he would not play practice games.
Okay.
All the other all the other guys on his team would play semi-practice games, whatever. He would, while everyone was doing their practice games, he would be hiking around a mountain. Like,
Okay.
today, he'll hike, he'll run. You're like,
Mm.
like imagine half marathon every day.
Yeah.
Um, why do you do that? He would also do like these crazy plyo drills. Why would he do that? Because he knew that he probably had the same skill set as the other running back or everyone else on the team. They're all the
Yeah.
best NFL players, right? Like they're the
Mm-hmm.
best players in their country in that sport. So he knew he needed something. He also needed a smarter way to win.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he knew that the running back, and this is where looking at data helps,
Mm-hmm.
is most important in the closing moments of a like the closing
Yeah.
parts of a American football game. Okay, what's the important thing that happens in the closing parts of a American football game? Well, at that point, everyone's been running for however long the game's been going, right?
So they're like
Pagod
more or
sila
less
lahat.
tired. Oh.
Yeah, this guy who spends all his time hiking around mountains and doing crazy plyo explosion drills is exploding past everyone um,
Oh.
in the dying hours of the game, making
Mm-hmm.
the game scoring touchdowns. That's
Uh-huh.
smart. But like, and you don't get to that kind of conclusion unless you're obsessed with what you're working on.
That is
Like
true.
that guy did not come to that conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
If he wouldn't have come to that conclusion if he were not as crazy about winning and being great at American football as he was, or else, well, he wouldn't have thought to be that clever about it. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, a big part of greatness is the hard work in the right places as well. So I guess that's three things. You gotta have the passion, you gotta have the hard work, but you also have to direct. You have to be very well directed with your work as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Yeah, and
Talent is overrated. Good book.
talent is overrated. The download ko nga yan. At naisip ko na kung ano yung libro. Naalala ko. Di ko maka-get over. The
Ah,
name of the book is A Fighter's Heart by Sam Sheridan.
okay, okay.
Tama,
Audio book ba
he
yan? Hanap ako.
created two books. So it's A Fighter's Heart, that's book one. Book two naman
Hmm.
is A Fighter's Mind, which tackles naman about the mindset of high level athletes. Now, uh, you both teach and compete. Now let's go to the competitive aspect of what now like this is like sharing na lang din eh. Like what is the mindset, what is the demeanor coming towards a competition earlier years and how you approach it today.
Um, one thing it tells me that one thing I know is a universal experience in sports is teenagers are crazy, man.
Yeah.
Teenagers are crazy.
Yeah.
Like they are gonna drive a lot of the passion in the environment around them,
Mm-hmm.
just the excitement they bring to training.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also like I don't want to say not being mature is a good thing, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like they also are, and again, bad choice of words here, naive enough
Mm-hmm.
to be so crazy confident that you can do anything. Like, but it's a strength sometimes.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a strength. Like,
Oh, oh,
like
oh.
especially you
We're
see
not gonna
the
discount
generation
that. We're
of
not
like
gonna discount that. Oh.
especially you see the generation of like young jiu-jitsu players now who are like
Mm.
purple and blue, like here and other countries.
Yep.
Like they have a swagger to them,
Yep.
and dude, a lot of their success comes from that. So, but
Mm-hmm.
I over time learned to temper that emotion with um I guess it's not stoicism. It's not like, oh, I don't care,
I
but
think
it's
it's more
like you
flicking
gotta
the
kind of,
switch now. You control the switch
yeah,
now.
yeah, yes. You have to kind of prioritize when the switch goes off. Yeah,
Uh-oh.
pick your moments when you're like that. Um, I've also noticed that the more I care about winning,
Mm-hmm.
and this is so weird, huh? Like I'm sure a lot of people will disagree. There'll be different views on this, but the more I care about winning, the less I win. The more
I
winning
agree with that.
becomes,
I agree.
the more winning becomes like the thing that makes me feel good about myself, the less I win
Mhm.
because I'll be so hung up on getting that thing. If I don't get it,
Mhm.
right?
I share
I
that
win.
sentiment. I share that
Yeah,
sentiment.
I win more. I know this. My best competitions where I'm most relaxed, when I'm just
Mhm.
having fun. Obviously fun trying to win. You are trying to win, but like you know what I mean. You try to jujitsu's hard enough as it is.
Mhm.
Why are you gonna add baggage to it? Why are you gonna add baggage now? Oh, I have to win this or else the jujitsu sucks. I'm gonna feel bad. Like I
Mhm.
would do that a lot. I would. That's something Coach Ali had to point out to me a lot.
Mhm.
Stop doing that thing where you turn into yourself after you lose, beat yourself up for it.
Mhm.
Stop doing that because that's not helpful.
Mhm.
Good advice. I still need to take that advice sometimes in other matters. Jiu-jitsu, I feel
Mhm.
like I'm pretty okay on that front already. Um, so I've also noticed um, the times that you get into that flow state
Mhm.
are the times when there's just the right amount of uncertainty and familiarity. There's like a sweet spot. It's like I know this. Like I've been here. Like, but it's also that uncertainty of the excitement of okay, but I have to be alert. I have to be at my best. I
Mhm.
mean, you're not thinking that in your head. It's flow state, right? You're not actually thinking that. But that's the compulsion you feel.
Mhm.
So I found that even now, I guess even now that I become a coach, I'm even more kind of not interested in like, oh, I have to be a gold medal in this division. Like, obviously, I want to, but like,
Mhm.
I guess my personality is I've always liked studying things. I
Yeah.
like studying things. I like explaining things.
Yeah.
And that's like I'm not a good coach because I'm good at jujitsu. I think I'm good at jujitsu because I'm good at like the things that make me a good coach. I think
That
that's
is true.
they both come from the same place. I think
Mhm.
everyone's unique experience of our sport is very much centered around something that appeals to their personality. For me, that's
Mhm.
it. For me, it's
Mhm.
like you'll never learn every single technique. I tried. I tried
Yeah.
like one time in my notebook writing down every single technique I knew. It was cool thought experiment. Not very good for game planning.
Mhm.
So but like you gotta, I guess, if you're a competitor, at least the way I see it, love winning. Obviously, be obsessed with
Mm.
it. Be as
Yeah.
obsessed with it as you have to be.
Mhm.
But remember that after this competition match, after this tournament,
Mm.
you're still gonna love it. All
That is
right,
true.
no matter what the result will be. All right, and then what you do about the result is proof that you love it. If you win, you're gonna be like, hey, look, I did it. Great accolade. You have permission to brag about it on social media for 2 weeks, and then eventually the occasion will
Buti
be
nga 2 weeks eh. Puta ako parang one or two posts tapos na eh.
yeah. Anyway, um,
I have I have kailangan ba mas marami akong post?
anyway. But the sign of your as the champion, you now owe
Uh-huh.
it to yourself to go back to training and put
Mhm.
in the same work ethic that you did and just do even better. Okay,
Mm.
so
Oh yeah.
that
That's true.
mindset as the one having not won, and I would like to remind all the competitors out there, mathematically speaking, literally half the division loses their first match. So don't feel bad about that. It will happen. Um, literally half the division, right? 8-man bracket, four
that
people are gonna lose,
we
and
should
then
you okay, you have to make that into a Coach Aldo meme. Okay, yung referee
I've told people
uniform,
that before.
referee
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uniform, 'di ba? This is a statistical fact. Okay, this
Yeah.
is
Okay. So as the competitor, you have to come out of that. Sige, feel bad. Sure, let it hurt.
mm,
Like a lot. Like it's not. I'm not saying don't let it not hurt. Like a lot of best
yeah.
lessons come from letdowns and defeats, and
Mm,
they hurt. You remember it too.
yeah.
Like, um, dude. I got triangled super bad. Like I did not see it coming it was out of nowhere by this guy. I never still trains Ray Hawson. Fucking great man. Fucking great triangle.
Uh,
He triangled me when I was a white belt, and after that match, I was like, dude, I never want to get stuck in a
Stuck in a
triangle against a
triangle.
really good triangle player again. It sticks with you. Like the fact that I remembered the exact match na nahuli ako.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to also come out of it with that. You don't have to. Don't come out. I mean, it's not your fault if you do, but ideally, we don't want to come out of it saying, I suck. What did I do right, man? Was it like I'm not
Mm-hmm.
good enough? Like, did I waste the time? Like, I spent so many hours in the gym for this. I fought through injuries for this. Like, that
Mm-hmm.
it, it is fair and valid to feel those things. But as a
Mm-hmm.
coach and as someone who advocates kind of a healthy mindfulness towards your emotions, I would say okay, feel it while you have to, but man, it's still your job to move on. Like
Yeah,
no
you
one's
have to
gonna.
get over it. You
People
have
will
to.
encourage you, they'll push you along, but you have to. There's just bugs in my room. um, you have to you have to still be the one propelling yourself, or else that is the definition of being dependent on other people. You
Mm-hmm.
have to find a way to push yourself forward. So the way to do that, in I would say, the healthiest way is fine. Let it hurt. Let that defeat hurt, but take something from it. Take the fact that here's my favorite one. I was a guard player like most of the time that we
Yeah.
were competing
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
blue belt, purple belt. You knew I was majorly guard player, Delahiva, all that stuff.
Uh.
Two things happened big time. One, my knee got pretty bad, so I couldn't even play Delahiva on that other knee,
Mm-hmm.
on that knee. But um, I lost a match in Asian Open, first
Mm-hmm.
match, because this is definitely not the only reason I lost, but I chalked up my a big decrease in chances of winning to doing the less than ideal game plan. I was
Mm-hmm.
so concerned that my opponent was gonna try to go for a throw that I insisted on the guard pull, even though
Mm.
I knew my takedowns were okay. Like
Yeah.
I did judo.
Yeah.
I wasn't the best judoka, but I could, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I already had a feeling that I might want to do,
Yeah.
exchange more takedowns with this guy. I pulled guard like 5 seconds into the match,
Uh-huh.
and it cost me big time.
Uh-huh.
I fell straight into one of his strengths, and I felt like I was just by forcing guard, my opponent wasn't properly, off balanced enough to off balanced,
Yeah.
to kind of fall into the guard into my game. He fell straight into his game just because I was so excited to avoid that thing I was worried was going to happen. Basically, I played the scenario in my head before the match even started, and
Yep.
I was so afraid of that scenario that I forgot to adjust to my partner.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, his next match, he gets taken down super easy with one of my favorite takedowns I was watching. I was like, I could have
Sir
done that.
mo, yeah.
He was a good competitor, and the guy who did the takedown,
Mm.
props to him. But I was like, what I mean? Just
And here's the
realizing
thing,
here,
that sequence is gonna bother you. Diba? That sequence is gonna bother you later on. Yun na bad trip.
so yeah. So I was on that trip with my friend and teammate at the time, si Dean.
Mm.
Like good friend of mine. We were both on Atos at the time. And we were talking on the plane coming back from Tokyo, and like, we were kind of talking about the things that went wrong in our matches, the things that we learned, all that stuff. And I told my I told him like, dude, I'm not gonna pull guard for a year.
Not gonna pull guard for a year.
I'm not gonna pull guard for a year, and I didn't. I didn't
Yeah.
pull guard for a year, dude. At the time I was training in Makati,
Mm-hmm.
because there was finally an Atos
Yeah.
branch in Makati, the one run by Anthony Lim.
Yep.
Yun, so here's the thing. Not pulling guard against Anthony means I have to take him down.
Yeah. And
So
Anthony
like
is not, and it's not an
everyone else,
easy
I
thing
take
to
everyone
do,
down.
diba? Diba?
Yeah, and then I mean, my rule was like I'll play guard if I get swept. I'll play guard if I get taken down, right? But I'll always be try for a year. That's what I did.
Mm.
I made it to a year. My takedowns got pretty good, and my passing was like better
Mm.
than it had ever been. After that year, even though I'd spent most of my jiu-jitsu career as a guard player, after
Mm-hmm.
that year, I constantly said, I think I prefer passing. Um,
Mhm.
so like the meme that around brown belt you pick up how much you love passing.
Yeah.
This is towards the end of
This,
purple belt,
ito
so
na
maybe
yun,
it's the
ito na yun,
time.
ito na yun.
Yeah, ito na yan. Uh, but and then from there I made it. Uh, I won't full guard unless it's straight to a sweep attempt.
Yeah.
So, sobrang gumanda yung sacrifice throws ko bigla.
Mhm.
Komonage, even straight the tripod sweep, like,
Yeah.
it even like, kind of obsessive. So, like, you have to, and I would have never ever learned all this if I didn't, if I hadn't taken that message from the loss. Let's even say it doesn't even matter that I won or lost. What's more important is that you took the lesson, right? Like, everyone's
Yep.
like, you win or you learn. Well, no, you win or you stagnate or you learn.
Yeah.
Because you only learn if you picked up the lesson. If you didn't pick up the lesson, wala. you there's nothing to work on. There's nothing to
You
learn.
guys remember that, you only learn if you pick up the lesson. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's true. Right?
feeling ko that's a good addition to that cliche eh. Di ba? Ako
Oh,
rin eh. That's why I don't really use that. You don't, ano ba yun? You
you win
don't
or you
win,
learn.
you
Talaga.
learn. Parang feeling ko kasi ever
You don't
since that
lose, you learn.
whole line was released, parang I rarely used it kasi parang feeling ko something was missing.
More
Um,
importantly, more importantly, you do lose.
yeah,
Everyone loses, and to try to talk yourself out of that reality is doing yourself a disservice.
yeah,
Because who has ever been successful in life who hasn't lost or
that
failed
is
or
true. Oh,
so once you get to that point, and I only really appreciated this when I started teaching. Once you get to that point in like understanding how learning and growth works, that's when you can kind of, I think, unlock the best athletes.
mm-hmm.
Actually, for me, the best athletes are the ones who unlock that early in their career. Like, talk about people with good mindset. You talk about people like Meggy Ochoa, you talk about Team Rojas. Like, these people I've known, as long as I've known them, they've always had the healthiest mindset
Mm-hmm.
towards learning.
Mm-hmm.
Always. It's like no baggage. They just want to be better. They just want to be better. They just want
Mm-hmm.
to do better. And
Oo, lalo. Yan, si Dean, puto, matagal nang magaling yan eh. Kaya natutuwa ako. That's why I'm
yeah,
super happy when he won sa SEA Games. Kasi na, okay.
yeah,
I mean, he wasn't,
yeah,
like, I mean, not even in the jiu-jitsu community, not many knows of his, wala masyadong nakakilala sa kanya eh. That's why what do you call this, dun sa Grand Prix, remember that Relentless? Diba?
yeah,
When
yeah.
he gave the lineup, I was like, sinong tinanong ako eh.
That was
Sabi,
fun.
who's gonna,
That
yeah,
was a really
super
fun fight.
fun, diba? Sabi ko, who's gonna win in this bracket? Tapos parang they all, sabi ko, si Dean Rojas. And I go like, what? Sabi niya, merong ganito dito, ang laki niya, meron dito, ito na yung belt niya, meron dito, nag-compete pa yung ganyan. Sabi ko, Dean Rojas. kasi,
Yeah, man.
Kasi I saw how he is as a competitor and wala iba yung there are just some people who have it. He's one of those guys that have
Yeah,
it pero I don't feel that he's he's given his due. Kumbaga.
yeah.
So when he won
Have you
that
had him on the show?
huh? Not
Have
yet,
you had him
wala
on the
pa.
show? He's
Not
a
yet.
very interesting person to talk to about like mindset and sports science because he studied sports science and he was a track and field athlete in high school and college. So
Ayun, okay, yeah,
so if you
I
want
will
someone to
ask
talk
him
to
to be
about like
here.
deep like stuff about
Ay,
sports,
hindi,
that's the guy.
sakto. Wow, now that you gave me that information, I'll definitely reach out. Kasi, ano eh, I mean, ever since, I'm like, I mean, he's one of those guys that rarely competes, pero when he does, you know he's gonna win. Yeah, yung lineup no SEA Games, I'm like, alam ko na kung sino mananalo
Oh yeah.
dito. I'm like,
Oh man.
as in, I was, yun eh,
That was great. Sea games
na,
was fun, man. Sea
SEA
games
Games,
is so much fun to watch.
nakakatawa. Nasa meeting ako, meron akong maliit na box dun sa ng YouTube dun sa yung ano eh, tawag ito, may meeting, tapos naka-live sa YouTube siya, di ba? So, naka-live siya, pinapanood ko siya habang nagmi-meeting yung sa trabaho na pinapanood ko silang lahat.
Keep an eye
Tapos,
out for the Philippine flag on the
oh,
main
di ba?
part.
Tapos, makikita mo dun sa live, yung comment section, puro mga jujitero rin yung mga, may kanya-kanyang comment.
Puro
Parang,
makilala natin,
oo
eh.
na, magkakakilala. Sabi ko, tangina, pare-pareho na naman tayo nandito. Ah. Sabi ko, kaya dapat talaga mag-grow tong community nito eh. tayo pa rin nandito. Sabi ko,
Oh
and
yeah, even at the venue itself, dude,
yes,
it felt like another like any other comp, except isa lang yung mat area,
yep. And
so
then
it
ano
was
pa,
big.
ang tawag dito, parang
Lapad,
hindi, that is something we could we'll discuss in a bit further. Pero one
okay.
of the reasons why I love you in here is because we've talked about being a student, a competitor, and teaching, and now for the benefit of our viewers, at least you get a glimpse of the thankless job that we're doing, refereeing.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
diba? This is like
Talk about things that you're only gonna do if you really like enjoy doing it, no?
exactly like you will not be a referee. You don't want to be a referee if you
Don't
do
be a
not
referee
love.
if you can't handle high stress, very quick decision making while people are shouting at you, man.
Exactly. Now, I mean, one of the best resource people to talk about refereeing. Even I don't consider myself a good resource person. I always say, go talk to Aldo Vergel de Dios, go talk to BJ Nang,
DJ,
diba? I mean,
DJ.
you
Go
wanna
to
talk
DJ
about
Sulit.
referee,
I think that's everyone you talk.
diba? Sabi I'm like,
Yeah.
I always tell people within before matches, I always ask them, don't make it fall into my hands, okay? Because I'm gonna fuck this up. So you better make sure you do everything you can to win. Okay? So like,
Yep.
kasi,
Yeah, no, really.
I mean, he summed it up. Aldo summed it up. It's it's a thankless
I
job.
summed it up.
Di ba? Ano?
I summed it up.
You summed it up kasi I'm like, it's a thankless
Oh,
job wherein you have to make quick decisions based on situations that is unfolding in real time while,
mm-hmm.
di ba, mitigating and like balancing out screams. That's why when I mean, ako between refereeing MMA matches and jiu-jitsu matches, mas takot ako mag-referee ng jiu-jitsu matches. Kasi you have to be wary about points, you have to worry about positions, you have to
Yeah.
be
And safety
where,
and
di ba?
all that stuff. All
Di
that stuff.
ba?
So, and I think MMA. Your main concern is safety, diba?
Yes, di ba?
Yeah.
And but for jiu-jitsu,
And that's mostly it, right?
safety becomes just one tick mark, di ba? It's
Jiu-jitsu.
one
Oh
tick
yeah,
box.
dude.
Then you have to worry
You
about
can score too.
di ba? You have to worry about points. You have to worry
That's
about
why I like your comps na walang advantage. It's like one
advantage.
less thing. I feel like I can focus a little bit better just because there's one less thing I don't have to like count in my head. So
Exactly. Diba? And then I'm very happy that there are a lot of tournaments out there that have their own, that they're trying to develop their own rule set to make
yeah,
everything, they're trying to make everything more entertaining, so to speak.
yeah.
Diba? It
I'm a
becomes,
believer for sure in having different rule sets.
uh-uh.
Each rule set definitely has its place, and to think that one is the correct one, I
Mm-hmm.
think misses the point of jiu-jitsu being how vast and open-ended it is, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, in your words, what goes through your
Mm.
mind, diba? The moment you make, diba, the moment you make competitors, the moment you make your combatants go on the mat and you start, you are responsible for starting and ending the match, diba? What is the thought process happening, diba? What is the thought process happening? Like, you ask timer ready, fighter ready, combat, diba? What is now the thought process
Um,
coming in?
aside from the important technical pre-checks, like just take a glance at them. Like
Mm-hmm.
are they wearing a shirt underneath? Kung bawal
Mm-hmm.
mag-shirt underneath, are they is their gi the correct like the basic stuff. The gi's not like long enough, whatever, too long,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Aside from that kind of stuff, I like to get. I'm a person of habit, so I like to find a routine that makes it easy to kind of put my mindset with the
Mm-hmm.
correct trigger. So mine is I make eye contact with both the athletes. I make eye contact with the scoreboard. I double
Mm-hmm.
check the scoreboard. It is an
Yeah.
important one that they teach.
Mm-hmm.
They taught us. Sina Coach Ali and Golapalooza gave
Mm-hmm.
me the first actual rules seminar I was ever in. It was never a JJFP or a BJFP
Mm-hmm.
or IBJJF, whatever. It was like an independent Golapalooza thing. And that seminar actually prepared a lot of the people who did become the referees. Like I think DJ was there, the common referees. And one thing they kept emphasizing in that seminar was you have to remember you're the last line of defense from
Mm.
confusion. Confusion. Okay, so you have to check the scoreboard. You have to make sure everyone. You have to kind of direct. You're the director of what's happening. Obviously not
Mm.
the, but you are kind of directing the match in a way.
Mhm.
Everything but the fighting, you're directing. And you have to, therefore, like a good director, keep checking. So, one mistake I had early on was I'll keep looking at the match. I'll forget to occasionally glance at the scoreboard, or
Mm.
I'll position myself in a spot where I'm looking at the match, but the scoreboard's behind me. So if I do have to check, feeling on the ho.
Oo.
Like in that split second that I did that, completely removing my periphery, uh, something could happen.
Something's gonna happen.
Something could have determined the outcome of the match in that moment.
Mhm.
You also have to have these little habits of like, I'm always checking. I'm always checking. I'm always checking. I'm always checking. Um, and the other thing I also make sure to remind myself is that these people are nervous as hell.
Mm.
Okay, so when you speak to them, you have to be very clear and firm about what you're saying.
Mhm.
Kung alanganin or soft spoken or yung instructions mo or you just say it in so many words, wala. All your instructions should be, I think, 4 or 5 words max to the competitors.
Mm.
Um, tie your belt, stand up, like over here. Be very clear about what's happening. Because one, in that heightened state, they might not be listening to you. Their attention's
That
on their
is
opponent.
true. Oo, there are
Uh,
instances, di ba? You'd be like, fighter, fighter. Okay, I'll be like, hey.
yeah.
Sometimes I have to, ako, ang style ko naman, I rarely call them by their names just to make sure
Hmm.
na everything is fair. Minsan, totoo yan. That's very true. They're not listening or they can't hear you because they're in
Mhm.
that heightened stage that you have to really
Yeah, the brain's
get
somewhere
their
else. The
attention.
brain's
Yeah.
simplified.
Di ba?
I would say, another thing that happens when that's the case is, and this is where I kind of disagree a little bit with one of the international bodies' approaches to it. There's one organizer. It's not a big deal, but I just personally find it limiting.
Mm.
Um, some orgs you're not supposed to touch the competitors.
Mm, mm, mm.
Uh, or stop,
Yeah.
whatever language it's in.
Yeah.
They have to hear you. They have to, like, it's on them to follow. Like that's how we did Sea Games. That's
Yeah.
how JJIF did. Which is fair, I think, in like the high level competitions because again, if you're
Mm.
the athlete on the national team level, iba yung expectations sa'yo in terms of
Yeah.
listening to the ref. Right?
Yep.
But with these smaller comps, with like a first time white belt, like a blue belt hobbyist competing in the masters division, like they normally have another day job. They're not going to be thinking, I need to listen to the
Yeah.
referee. So you have to always. So I often grab them. I haven't
Yeah.
grabbed them if I have to when I get their attention. Obviously, not in a way that interrupts the match, but when
Yeah.
I say,
Just to get
oh,
their
paro, and like
attention. Mhm.
I'll stop, and then they're still rolling. I'll literally grab them by the keys and like,
Yeah.
wait, guys, stop. Yeah.
See, ano
So
yun eh,
it
I think it's more for safety. It's more for safety.
for sure. And but you can't do that job if you doubt yourself, which is very
That is
hard.
a very good point.
The flip
That's a
side,
very good point.
because the flip side of confidence, of doubt, is overconfidence. And an
Mm-hmm.
overconfident referee will not even consider na mali pala yung call niya kanina. So it's
Mm-hmm.
another thing. It's another one of those areas. So you have to really find this middle part here, where you're confident in your calls, but you're human and you make mistakes,
Yeah.
and you can like stop and like, oh wait, no, actually that thing I gave 2 points for really should be still an advantage or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it really comes with practice. It's really difficult. So my mindset as I'm going through it is, uh, you have to be. It sounds obvious in hindsight, but you can't space out. You can't be
Mm-hmm.
passively watching.
Mm-hmm.
What
Mm-hmm.
one thing that also helps is, um, I I don't I kind of imagine if I were in this position, what techniques would I be thinking of doing?
Mm-hmm.
Not to the point of being detailed with techniques. Doesn't matter. Let's say I'm in guard. Well, I know that the guard player is probably going to go for a sweep. So I should
Mm-hmm.
be watching out for a sweep. It kind of shortcuts the process of like, oh, what's happening? What's happening? So many things can happen. No, it's like
Mm-hmm.
actually in guard, this many things can happen, not a million things, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
clearly, most likely he's gonna try to sweep him,
Yeah.
catch him with a sub,
Yep.
or climb to the back. Top player is gonna try to, yeah,
Pass.
is gonna try
Yeah.
to pass or expose the back.
Mm-hmm.
It's or if they just discovered the dark side, they're gonna drop for a foot lock, whatever. um, like so, you, I feel like refereeing for me is an exercise in being a jiu-jitsu fan in a
Mm-hmm.
way. Enough, but in the sense that you're an objective fan, you have to be. You can't. Some people watch jiu-jitsu cheering for someone,
Mm-hmm.
but ever since I became a referee, I've learned that I can appreciate a match not being for either competitor, just watching it play out.
Yeah.
Uh, and when you do that, you then start seeing the game. That's or you know like that you see you start seeing the underlying things about jiu-jitsu when you watch it that way. At least in my opinion, that's why film study is so important too.
'Di ba? Ano eh, ang tawag dito, and these are the things that most people do not understand. And hopefully this one, or at least this segment, will give a little bit of perspective on the things that we do in terms of how we see things, how we manifest through our actions yung what's literally unfolding in front of us now. um from the current situation and looking forwards, uh you opened your school. What is the process behind that? Like, what have you realized? Like, all of a sudden, now I'm gonna open a school. These are the things that I have to learn. These are the things that, di ba, kasi you tackled it later, before, na parang okay, my corporate years came in handy, di ba? Pero can you, like, hindi naman sobrang, like, and as much as you can divulge, like, what was the process of creating your own academy? Diba? Was it as easy as it seems? What were the hardships and the challenges of setting everything up?
Um, I would say not first and foremost, not every journey of every business or entrepreneur is the same.
Mm-hmm.
But there tend to be a lot of overlapping things. A lot of things tend to happen in parallel. Um, and one that I spotted in hindsight was don't try to rush a perfect product and then release.
Mm-hmm.
Release your beta test as quickly as you can. Okay.
Okay.
So when you consider yourself as the instructor, as the service, as the product, your beta test is basically learning how to
Mm.
coach. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And ideally, the stakes are lower at the start than as a don't jump straight in as a business owner if you haven't coached. I would say
Mm-hmm.
in this business. So that's why I appreciated that Michu hooked me up to that UFC gym
Mm.
job because I really did need a job at the time, and I felt like I was learning on their dime. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think not everything's gonna be perfect, but it's okay. I mean, it sounds funny to say, but it's not my business. Like, it's obviously I did my best, and
Ah.
obviously the result I feel like showed. But like you know what I mean, be ready to fail in a way
Mhm.
that it's gonna happen. Don't look for it. Don't look for it. But when it happens, learn quickly, move on. And if you follow every successful like business, not just like the unicorn startups and whatever, every successful business, um, it's contingent at least at the very early part on being able to learn and adapt quickly. Things
Mhm.
that work and don't work, you have to know them. The things that don't work, take them out. The things that work,
Mm.
do your best. You don't even have to scale your product up right away. Like the analogy of Airbnb, the story of Airbnb was
Mm.
they kept trying to scale the brand, scale the brand, scale the brand, but they had never actually bothered to visit the house of one of
Yeah,
the hosts.
the actual look, ano,
Yeah, so they started showing up and taking very nice photos of the insides of the houses and the outside,
mm.
and suddenly the following became big. And you can't scale that. You can't do that first to scale. But that's okay because they weren't in the scale stage of their development. So By the time I decided I didn't really want to stick around at UFC gym very long,
Mhm.
um, but mostly because I there were some things that I felt like I could do more my way.
Mhm.
Um, Also, there were other things I wouldn't have to worry about as much. I also hated being the guy at the front desk trying to make sales. It's
Mhm.
just not my personality.
Yeah.
I sell with my class. My
Yeah.
my sales strategy is, dude, the first session's free. What do you have to lose? And I'm gonna trust that if you're the person who's gonna love jujitsu, you'll love it by the end of my class. If
Yep.
you're not,
Mhm.
okay, cool. Hope you had fun. Tell your friends about us.
Yeah.
So you, so I kind of directed it more to just starting small because um, I was working in a place where they actually had the opposite effect. They had global gym. They
Yeah.
make a big investment, make a really good gym, and then they have a lot of inflow, but mas matagal yung ROI.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so around that time, what I did was I started looking around and dun ko naisip, okay, so in Atos, we had a rule among the instructors to respect each other's territories. We never want cannibalization to happen.
Mhm.
So like that's why I considered at first starting sa may Pioneer area,
Mm.
but it was a bit too close to our Metro Walk batch.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, no, tama. You don't wanna eat in like cannibalize each other there. So I was like, okay, so Anthony has Makati. We have UC is big, so we had a couple of UC branches.
Yeah.
Wala pang BGC. I had heard people previously talk about looking into it, making plans. It never happened,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, BGC, all right. I know what my voice sounds like. I know I know the way I talk. I
Mm.
know what kind of marks gonna appreciate my class. Like,
Yeah.
medyo no secret there. Um, so I was like, okay, let's see what it takes. Let's see what and it just so happened that the girl I was dating at the time,
Mm.
she was also a fitness instructor. It,
Mhm.
uh, they did like spin classes,
Yeah.
and their spin class moved to a new venue because they had previously been sharing the space of the yoga studio.
Yeah.
And she pointed it out that spot. Hey, look, that spot's blank, and they're probably gonna want someone to use it. Why don't you check them out? And so actually, that was when I started talking
Mhm.
to that yoga studio. And I guess so. What I would say first and foremost is if you have an idea, don't blare it to the world. Fine, you're not gonna, but don't be so guarded with it that you're not gonna tell the right people.
Mhm.
Sometimes, I mean, you know that people are saying like if you call a thought to yourself hard enough, the universe will bring it to you. I'm not that like I don't take that quote literally,
Uh-huh.
but has that effect. If you tell the right people, if the right people know you're looking for that thing that's gonna help you with your business, help you with the thing, and they'll have something to help you with somehow. It might not be
Mhm.
that lead that make you rich, but again, good ideas are a connection of dots that you put together in hindsight.
Yeah.
That's always been my approach to creativity. Creativity is not making something new in the sense out of nothing. Creativity is
Mm.
connecting dots that otherwise were not connected.
Yeah.
So that's one. Find the people that there are people that you will trust with your idea. Talk about your idea, like bounce your idea off of them. Because sometimes in our head we get so caught up in the ooh, it's such a wonderful thing. I'm gonna be rich, but then
Yeah.
you forget. Okay, but have you asked someone who doesn't think like you what they think of your idea? And
Mhm.
that's when you get the best ideas. If you have people in your life who are good, savvy business owners, pick their brain whenever you can. Especially if they're in a similar or adjacent industry, or even the same industry.
Mhm.
Uh, like so yeah, me and Meet You, we were both planning our own gyms while we were both at UFC gyms. So we talk about this stuff all
Yeah.
the time. So we bounce ideas like all that stuff. And then, uh, but the big help I've had is my dad. Like my
Mhm.
dad is probably one of the wisest people I know, and I
Mhm.
was very lucky um, that in his retirement he stayed active with his NGO. It's an NGO that
Mm.
helps promising micro to small businesses
Yeah.
become properly sized that they can then generate jobs for their local communities.
Yeah.
So they're very familiar with like, like the life cycle of a business, startup
Mm.
phase,
Yeah.
something, something. I forget that phase. But like and there are some parts where it's a stagnate, and then either it'll either go this way,
Pababa
you
ka
either
or
now go
gagawa ka ng
downward,
bago.
or you have to get up, and then
You create a
you
new
know,
curve.
yeah, you pivot at some point. So I've always been picking my dad's brain
Mhm.
about this kind of stuff. So he really, really helped me with his expertise in like simple stuff actually. Like I was asking him how do I make a profit and loss statement? How do I do
Yeah.
accounting? What's the difference between a cash flow and a profit loss? My older brother teaches this too, so I get his help too. So if there are people in your life like who are willing to give you their valuable time to tell you
Mhm.
stuff that these things sound boring while they tell you, but these are the things that are gonna save you when you're in the trenches and things are
That
going
is true.
wrong.
Oo naman, oo naman.
Uh, like you have to know these things. That's another one. The other important part is I already said don't rush to make it perfect.
Mhm.
Connected to that is and kind of, I'm gonna make a jiu-jitsu analogy. Um, a perfectly memorized and choreographed technique at the wrong time is so
Ah,
much less useful than a good enough move at like just the
the right
perfect moment.
perfect perfect moment.
Like there's
Galing.
a moment where arm drag got you. Like
Ah,
that's it. That's it. It might be a sloppy, ugly ass arm drag, but like you're on their back. Who's complaining?
yeah.
Um, so timing of when you see that the iron is hot, you have to
Mhm.
strike. You have to
Yeah.
jump in. Don't be so worried. Oh, what if it's not good enough? What if nobody shows up? Again, same mindset as when you competed and lost.
Mhm.
You're learning. You're learning. You keep going. Uh, but once you do, and the other important one, feedback.
Feedback.
Important as a coach, as a student, as a business owner, as a customer. Feedback. Everyone gets better when they get the right feedback. Like I said earlier,
Mhm.
that oh, you don't learn if you don't get the lesson. You don't get the lesson if the lesson doesn't come to you. That's what
Yeah.
feedback is. So I ask my students for surveys pretty often. Like when you sign up, I give a survey and ask stuff about you, and then every once in a while I update it. I ask anything update. Like, and the questions are you know standard procedure brand research. What are your thoughts about the experience? What did you like? What didn't you like?
Mhm.
What can be better? What should we keep doing? Parang ganun. What should we do more of?
Mm.
Like, kind of questions, right? And with that, I knew exactly what makes my class great. Like
Mhm.
I kind of started my class in a very generic. Okay, guys. Today we're gonna learn. You can teach
Mm.
us armbar. Like, it feels like a script. It feels like a script
Yeah.
to follow. After a while, I kind of learned to do my own thing because I knew what about the class people like. What about my
Mhm.
instruction? Um, Not only that, what about? Don't forget, we're not just when you own the business, you're not just the coach. You are also a customer service guy. You have to be.
Yeah.
You also have to like know. Okay, what did you like about service? Like so, that's why we were very lucky that our venue partner has a front desk staff. We work very well with them. We have a
Mhm.
software that they use perfectly well. Hi, nice to meet you. Come in. La, la, la. Are you a new student? They're very good about that. But in me, I also make a point that hey, how was your first session? Talk, like every chance you can get feedback,
Mhm.
man. Ask your coaches just like you ask your coaches to help you with what you're working on. You have to ask your customers what they like and
What
what
they
you
like.
didn't like. Right?
Mhm.
Especially if there's something that comes to your attention that is a what you call a gross negative. You have to
Uh-huh.
know about it. You have to confirm that it's a gross negative, that it's going to ruin everyone else's day, which is usually very easy to confirm, and then address it and keep promoting the good things about the culture that you have. And this is very seamless transition. Hindi ko sadya, it actually kind of slipped my tongue kanina. Um, Culture is important in
Oh
the sense
yeah.
that
Oh yeah. I think that's the
uh,
very key ingredient in any gym. It's the culture.
yeah, but I like to I like to be very clear about how I define my understanding of culture. for my purposes.
Mm.
Culture is not just a built-in thing. Culture is pretty much the collection of everyone's habits around each other.
Couldn't agree
Um,
more. 100%.
so, as an instructor, I often think in habits. Also, as a person who tries to hack behavior, right? Like my own
Mm.
behavior. Or like, if you have a bad habit, try to replace it with a good habit. So, in the same light that I want to teach myself not to, wash my hands nowadays because it's like what you have to do now.
Yeah.
Um, you want to train yourself na, hey guys, don't forget when someone's new, bring them in, welcome them in, be very nice to them, very welcoming. It was the favorite thing that I brought to motion that Atos made very well, very successful, a successful part of their culture is anytime there's someone you don't know, you shake your hand and introduce yourself. Like the moment you walk on
Hmm.
the mats and like the class hasn't started yet,
Yeah.
shake hands with everyone. If you don't know them, hi, I'm Aldo, nice to meet you. Um, Simple things like that. If you train enough people to do it, especially your seniors, everyone will follow.
Yeah, that
And
is true.
I
That is
don't
true.
then I won't need to tell everyone I won't need to tell everyone, hey guys, stop making that person feel so left out,
Mm.
They won't feel left out because you've already welcomed them. You've already
Yep.
built that culture of doing it. I don't have to remind I will still remind my students to be careful and not injure their partners, but
Hmm.
the culture if you have a culture of taking care of each other, that's pretty important too, right? Uh, and any other important culture thing I find, especially in my market, because the gym is very female oriented,
Mm.
like the nighttime it's
Yeah.
suppressed, and it's BGC.
Yeah.
I often try to keep it wholesome.
Uh
a,
huh.
a lot of there have been times I've heard of in some jiu schools and of girls feeling uncomfortable
Yeah.
with the environment. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I can't have that. I can't let anyone not
Feel
feel welcome.
uncomfortable.
So uncomfortable, unwelcome. So like, if you hear someone making the wrong joke on the match, like guys,
Mm.
not here, not
No.
here. Have some respect for what we're doing. Right? You know what I mean? If you have to make those crass jokes, do it in your private chat
Yeah.
group, whatever. Like,
Doon kayo sa
like
banyo. Doon kayo sa shower room
and
yung pag-usapan.
it's not even that. I'm sure within the people who understand the context of what you're saying, it's probably like yes. I call my
Mhm.
friends like some really terrible like
Yeah.
jokes sometimes,
Yeah.
but they get it right. Like, but
Yeah.
some there might be someone who overhears it. It's
Yun
uncomfortable.
nga eh, di
Like
ba? Masyadong...
like yeah, I mean, you gotta respect.
yeah, yeah.
So a culture of respect and inclusiveness is super important to me about that. So yeah, so as an instructor, you match the culture, and the I guess the last one I will say is never ever 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 feel like you know how things are going.
Ah!
I hope we went independent from Atos
So,
last
medyo
January, okay?
100% yan. I'm
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, I
100%
feel like
yan.
we made a good exit. These guys are still my friends. Great,
Uh,
I'm excited. New year, new us. We get to define what we're doing,
uh-huh.
and the studio is being constructed in a new venue. The delay siya hanggang March. And then we all
Hmm.
know what happened in March. So we're like,
Yeah.
we were set to open in March, man, and we were like, oh yeah, okay.
Then,
I guess or
tangin ng
whatever.
COVID
So
kasi to gago eh.
yeah. Another one. Watch your books. You have to watch the numbers. You have to watch the numbers.
That's true.
Assume everything's going well. Like even if no one's stealing from you, even if no one's like outright, you have to watch your numbers. It's your job.
It's
Like
due
you have to make sure
diligence.
didn't
Due
forget.
diligence.
Yeah, you didn't make sure you didn't forget to make that payment, or like you didn't forget to like
Mm-hmm.
account for everything correctly. Because and if you can get your numbers in a way that you can ideally be in a template, if it's on a
Mm-hmm.
spreadsheet or whatever, and make it uniform. Like that sheet should be able to you should be able to like clear all the cells, copy paste it into a new month,
Yep.
and all the
And it's the
formulas are still
same.
the same.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
the same, and at the end of the year, you'll have consistent data.
Mm-hmm.
Now at the end of the year, you change the way you count your numbers. Hindi na siya apples to apples.
Oh.
It's
Tsaka
like
it creates
so
a
you
reliable
won't
trend
know
eh.
exactly. So you won't
Diba?
know which time slot is your most productive time slot. You
Mm.
won't know which time slots are actually the ones you can let go of in favor of, I don't know, another, like, extend an hour here or whatever, like, or move it at half an hour later. These little business decisions, you gut feel is important in your running a business, but you have to be grounded in, like, facts. You have to be grounded in,
Yeah.
like, knowing what you're
Yeah,
knowing.
especially ngayon, we're a very data-driven society na eh, 'di ba? So you can actually concretize these things, 'di ba?
Mm,
You can try it out for like 3 to 6 months, gather the
yeah.
data, and infer from there.
That's also why I recommend any aspiring, like, whether it's jiu-jitsu or any gym owner, business owner, if you haven't studied accounting yet, study it. Uh, even if you have your own accountant,
Hmm.
just so you can have the benefit of your account of understanding what the accountant is telling you
Yeah,
and
you have
making
to.
decisions based on it. Because
Hmm.
the boring part of accounting is writing it and doing it. The
Mm.
fun part of accounting, and
Just
I'm a
analyzing the
nerd, so
data.
I'm gonna call it fun. I don't know about you guys, but the fun part of accounting is seeing the story, connecting,
Hmm.
like I said, connecting dots. It's like seeing, okay, that's what that is. That's a trend. It's a whatever.
Yeah.
And it is making kind of comes out that way. So I guess even my coaching style comes out in my way I run a business because I'm very much, I like to measure things. Um, a My favorite Galileo quote is, "Measure what is measurable, make measurable what isn't, what is not measurable."
Hmm.
Because when you can do that, you're 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 not any smarter. Your brain works just as well, but you're working with better information, and that makes all the difference.
Yep. And with that, let's wrap this up, baby.
All right, man.
Coach Aldo, thank you so much for doing this. Appreciate it,
Thank you,
man.
sir. It was
Ano
fun,
to,
man.
first
Catching
of
up.
many, first of many natin. We're
Oh,
gonna,
we can check in every once in a while. Gusto mo.
yeah, di ba? And then plug it away. Where can people find you? Where can they find you? Where can they find your school?
Yeah. So on Instagram, I'm at Aldo VDB.
Mm-hmm.
My school is called Motion Jiu-Jitsu. At Motion Jiu-Jitsu. We also have a page on Facebook. We're not that active right now, as we all would know. My current uh, project, if I may plug it
Go,
right
go.
now, is a bit of an
Everything.
experiment in, yeah, it's a bit of an experiment in online teaching.
Mm-hmm.
I'm teaching a jiu-jitsu concepts and theory class called Jiu-Jitsu Theory Online.
Mm-hmm.
By the time you post this, there's probably going to be an Instagram account already.
And I
Eh,
will
actually,
plug, and I
there
will,
is already. Wala pa siyang laman. Yeah.
ilalagay ko sa
So
description box mamaya.
yeah, app Jiu-Jitsu Theory Online. So right now I'm doing my first test of students. We'll kind of get the systems in order for our second batch and onwards. So I'm trying to make it something that you can take in 8 weeks, and you come out of it in 8 weeks with a better understanding of the Jiu-Jitsu game. And
Mm.
yeah, I'm hoping the. I mean, it sucks that we can't train, but I'm hoping that this is an opportunity to kind of um, leave what I think would be a helpful impact on the jiu-jitsu community, which is approaching our sport in a bit more of a scientific way. It's both an art and a science.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like once you make it more measurable, then you really can kind of make it like a science and study it like one. So
Mm-hmm.
jiu-jitsu theory online, that's my passion project right now.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and yeah, that's me.
Diba? So follow him on all his social media outlets, and then of course can't wait for Motion Jiu-Jitsu to open. And with that, that's what Coach Franco says. Bye bye.
Coach Franco Says would like to thank the following sponsors for making this episode possible.
The best quality gear for your jiu-jitsu? Get your stuff from Knots and Crosses. Place your orders on their Facebook and Instagram pages. For delicious, locally sourced beans for your daily brew, get your fix with Awon Coffee. Order now on their Facebook and Instagram pages, spelled AWON Coffee. Gatorade, because nothing beats Gatorade. Train with me in the following Deftak Jiu-Jitsu chapters: Deftak Rockwell, Deftak Makati, Deftak Better Living. Book your classes on their Facebook and Instagram pages. Read news about the local martial arts scene here in the Philippines. Visit Lokal MMA on Facebook and listen to one of my favorite podcasts, Destroy MNL. The insights and lessons people share in my channel are inspirational, motivational, and life changing. They have to be shared in order to help others achieve their dreams. My life is all about providing value and helping others achieve their goals. Please help me make more podcast episodes, video tutorials, and educational content that will benefit everybody. You can support this channel by clicking the link in the description box. Thank you for your support, and I will keep making content that matters. That's it, everyone. See you in the next episode. Bye bye.